What is up? And Ryan here, and today is the episode where I'm going to be talking about how to, or at least the top tips that I actually use when I am trading crypto. So, this is an episode that is not considered as financial advice. It is just basically how I approach the market that I felt that is the most effective for myself. And this is how I usually strategize for our private group as well, because there are folks that don't know how to count 8 decimal places, right? Because in crypto, you can actually trade in altcoins that have 8 decimal places, or you can actually go and use the stable coin base, which is known as either USD Tether or whatever, or USD, right? So it's simpler, but I'm going to be just sharing the top tips that I prefer to use, and then from then you can decide for yourself whether this is something or this is a strategy that you want to consider as well. So right now I'm going to just share how I have been approaching my trading strategy, what kind of technical indicators that I prefer using. At the same time, what goes into my thoughts before I open a trade. When do I cut loss or take profit? So it's going to be a very simple video. It's not going to be short, but it's not going to be very long either. So I hope to cover all this within less than half an hour. Okay, so right now, apart from the usual, let's just jump into it. So we are now looking at the BTC charts, right? So in terms of I think investors, okay, the good thing about this episode is that I'm coming in from an investor standpoint as well. Now, don't be confused. I am someone who is considered an active investor. So active investor, there are two things. Now, not going off tangent, but I want to clarify a few things. One, I'm an active investor because whenever I invest in a company, I'm also part of the advisory. So when I'm part of the advisory, I tend to get very hands-on in terms of helping them build the business or make connections with other companies. At the same time, even when I trade, right, I want to have the best possible entry. Okay, so take note on that. Whether you're an investor or you are a trader, traders definitely you want the best possible entry at the point when you are doing your charting. Hence, depending on what kind of charts or what kind of tools or indicators you intend to use, right, will be allowing you to have better insight on your entry. You see, a lot of people tend to use their phone, and when they're on the go, they feel like, oh, okay, I heard something on Twitter, I heard something on the news, I watched something on YouTube from my favorite YouTuber, and then after that, they go and then they make a decision. Don't ever do that, because that is one of the worst things that one can do, right? I have never done that. Unless I'm very familiar about the support levels that I want to enter. So even if I was on the go, I must be very clear on what kind of support levels that I want to enter at, and what are the pairings that I want to be purchasing. So always set up a watch list of the various types of cryptocurrencies that you are considering. So that's number one. Okay, it's like you go to the grocery, right? You go grocery shopping, right? You go grocery shopping, and then you definitely have a list of things that you want to buy, right? Certain essentials. You don't go out and just randomly pick something that you don't know anything about, or you have not done any kind of fundamental analysis, or you've not done any technical analysis, and you just did it because of a hearsay. So please never ever do that, okay? I don't listen to random pieces of news. I get a consensus about what's happening, right? And then from then, I look at it from a fundamental standpoint, whether I'm comfortable with what the business is all about. And then after that, if there's an opportunity for me to trade, then I'll go into it. So that's how I make my decision when I'm putting and building up my watch list. Your watch list should not have freaking 10 over coins. Okay? Your watch list should have no more than 5 coins, and it's easy for you to quickly take a look and manage it. Okay, so it's from a glance, you immediately know, okay, this coin is doing this coin is doing that, right? I've already set up my list. This will eventually be my trades, part of my trades or part of my portfolio. Okay, so this is how I usually approach things. Now, I know it may seem a little bit complex at first. That is why I would highly suggest we have our free course. You can just join our Telegram group, or you can join our CG Protégé group. That will allow us to send the basic course to you. Okay, the basic course is absolutely free, so that if you're a bit lost right now, what are we doing and whatever, then at least you are a little bit ahead. Because this is also a reminder to a lot of people who think that, okay, it's already coming to the end already. It seems to be closing in on 2020. I don't want to miss out on any kind of bull runs or whatever. I start buying up all the coins. And in our private group, right, we always emphasize, if you are an investor, right, pick the top 5 coins and dedicate the resources, all your on whatever resources, right, on a regular basis. Okay, and right now I can openly share we're using the dollar cost averaging strategy. You know, it's not something out of the blue. And prior to me stepping into the space, nobody talked about portfolio. Okay, nobody talked about risk. Okay, I was the original YouTuber that spoke about risk and portfolio management, because nobody had the expertise to talk about it at the time. There was no VCs. There were no bankers who were stepping in the space. I was the only one. The rest, I can still clearly remember, were either traders, either forex traders, options or derivative traders. So they don't talk about portfolio management. Their risk management is an entirely different ball game, and the rest were all the guys who were just crypto enthusiasts and got lucky buying Bitcoin early. That's all, right? And then of course you have the whole Big Connect people, right? I was the only one that was talking about portfolio management and how to kind of strategize how many coins to buy, how many coins you should be looking at, you know, and then at the same time, what kind of risks are involved. So all these things, right, are in our private group and only can be discussed in our private group, because we need to know who you are before we even share all these things. Because I'm now talking to the public. I don't know who you are. I don't know what's your risk profile. I don't know your age. I don't know your time horizon in terms of how long you intend to invest. What is your profile in terms of, you know, are you a student? Are you someone who's already working? Are you someone who's already retired? You know, are you coming in with planning on lump sum? How much are you going to be setting aside? All these things are not questions that you put out there and address the general public, so we will never do that. But I'm just sharing with you, these are the thoughts that you have to have when you are building your portfolio. So back to it. Okay, so like I said, create a watch list. Okay, create a watch list. From there, this watch list is not your portfolio, guys. Okay, this watch list is just to maintain and manage the amount of maintain and so that you have this list. Sorry, there was this call that's coming in. It's very annoying. So you maintain the watch list so that you know which trades that you want to go into. Now, let me just share the indicators. Okay, I'm going to keep the indicators so simple you realize, oh, okay. And I don't know why, right? I think after a while, people tend to get bored, and then they think they grow up from using the indicators, and then they think that, oh, this YouTubers at the end of the day, they tend to want to entertain their subscribers, so they will always kind of think of new technical indicators to add on. I never believed in that. To me, it's if it's evergreen, it's evergreen. Okay, you don't have to keep changing. So for me, I only use 2 things: OBV, okay, and I use RSI. That's it. You know, and this is basically, I base my stuff on the trades. I do occasionally use Ichimoku. Once in a while, I use Ichimoku, right? So the Ichimoku cloud, okay. So I use these to indicate like roughly the strength of, obviously OBV is to determine the strength of the volume of whatever volume that's coming in on the hourly basis or daily, right, for a particular pairing. The RSI is to help me determine whether something is overbought or oversold. It's quite straightforward, because by not having the RSI, right, I do not know whether or not the cryptocurrency has already risen too quickly. right? You can see from a candle, but you do not know. Sometimes why you do not know? Because sometimes when the thing is going up, right, very quickly, right, it may have been from an oversold position. Okay, and you can't tell, right? Especially if you're on your mobile phone, you cannot tell because there's very little you cannot just like use your eyeball and eyeball it. You do your best to kind of at least gauge. Okay, then another thing that people like to use is the Fibonacci. So Fibonacci retracement. Okay, so Fibonacci retracement, right? Usually we can do this, right? One is to find the bottom, and then after that we find the top. Okay, so from there, okay, so we find we this that's why it's a retracement, you see. So you look at what are the key ratios that we usually do is the 0,618, right? So the 0,618. But however, you see, if you look at the 1 hour, the 0,618 falls practically like nowhere. Oh wait, it does. Okay, wow. Okay, so you see, if you look at the 0,618, right, you can see the wicks here. Okay, these were previous. You want to have as many candle touches as possible. Okay, as many candle touches as possible. So if we look at this chart, okay, what does it tell us? Okay, it goes to show that there is going to be a resistance at the 3886 on the 1 hour. That's what it's telling me, right? Because this was previously a so-called like a kind of a support, but however that broke. Okay, so if you ignore, okay, let me remove the Ichimoku cloud for folks, or else they'll be very very confused. So let's say right, we look at we use 3 indicators for today's episode. We look at the Fibonacci retracement, we look at the OBV, and we look at the RSI. Okay, so RSI above 50. But if you look at the way the graph, the line is moving, right, it's already dipping. So we anticipate more downside because there was a very quick recovery, but it seems like at the moment the volume and at the same time the RSI is showing that, okay, it's potentially going to be dipping. Okay, this is what it's telling me. Not only that, there's this doji here. Okay, so there's a level of uncertainty. There was no more strength to push it upwards, hence you see this drop in volume, a very drastic drop in volume, and at the same time this candle is almost engulfing the previous the last green candle. Okay, so it just goes to show that it's probably further downside, and it doesn't seem that it wants to break the 3836. Okay guys, hold on, I need to take my baby. Guys, this is a little bit of a situation, so you might want to be a little bit more patient. So as I was saying, right, in terms of the mom is out for today to help to buy some groceries and stuff. So because her diapers all ran out and stuff, so you just have to be a bit patient. Yes. So as I was saying, so this used to be the previous support level, right? Okay, so this used to be a support level. So the 0,618 FIPS ratio, right? This is considered a FIPS ratio. Okay, so this was supposed to be the support. Okay, so this broke through, and now you're sitting at the 3.8 level. So as you can see, guys, everything seems to want to test above the 3.8. The 3,800 or 3,803 FIPS level. So okay, great, it went up. And then initially people thought, okay, there's momentum going up. Right now, if it holds, right, you're going to see, of course, a further upside. But right now, dipping volume, dipping RSI doesn't look too good. But does it mean that you should start shorting? I don't encourage that. Like I said, I never like to encourage any kind of derivative movement because right now the volumes are not fantastic. The order books are very thin. So it is very difficult to determine the actual direction, because if you look at this dip, right, okay, This same thing, there was some telltale signs and indicators. Can you see? So back to it. Let me give you this example then. Okay, prior to the very sharp dip, right? So as you can see, failing OBV. So OBV, the volume was failing, and this looks like a double top. Okay, I don't know whether you guys can see. Okay, but this is like a double top in that sense. It's not an actual double top, a very nice double top, but it looks like a double top. And true enough, every double top usually means a reversal. It can even be a triple top or head and shoulders pattern before it dips drastically. So RSI, okay, RSI when it's already overbought already, okay, overbought. And then from then you shouldn't even be considering like just buying up. See, so you can't just look at one particular just a candle or formation and then you make a decision. People can say, oh, okay, this looks like a flag, but it's not enough. There's not enough indicators. So usually I use at least a maximum of 3 and it's good enough, right? So as you can see, it's quite straightforward. I stopped buying anything with regards to this point. And I also was someone who bought at 3,200, 3,003, 3,006, So I'm like more of, I'm not entirely doing everything, but I like to make very good entries. So this is one angle. So the next thing, okay, now the next thing, after you have decided on the various entry points already, right? You want to definitely either take profit and cut loss. Now, I prefer to take profit always in stable coins right now, especially because I want to have one foot on the ground. Because when you don't take profit in okay, if you take profit into satoshis, I understand. Okay, let me cover both angles. Those who are in altcoins and those who are just trading the major pairs that have USD Tether offering. So those who are trading in altcoins, what happens then? You see, you're going to have this situation where it's about your belief system already. If I believe that Bitcoin is going to go up in the long run, right? Or I believe that Ethereum is going to go up in the long run, I definitely want to only trade in Satoshis. That means I only want to accumulate as much Satoshis as possible, and eventually I will get paid off. So that means your altcoin pairing, for you to take profit, obviously the price has appreciated since your trade, and you're gonna have more satoshis than you started off with at the end of the trade. Okay, so you're still tired, then you should be sleeping, right? Right? What are you doing? Okay, so the okay, so the satoshis, right? So that's why the satoshis are when you take profit into satoshis, right? It's very important that you tell yourself that no matter how Bitcoin performs from now until your end game, your end goal, right? You want to accumulate as much Bitcoins as possible, or Satoshis as possible, or Ethereum as possible. So you only care about that. Okay? You don't care about what BTC is going to be priced at. That means if BTC is $1,000 from today, but your Satoshis has grown, that is a win for you. Okay? But the reality is that everyone comes in with fiat. Okay, everyone comes in with fiat. Everyone started with fiat, unless you're a miner. Okay, unless you're a miner, but that's very unlikely. Okay, miners hardly trade. Miners don't really have the expertise to trade. I think I've spoken to quite a number of miners. They're all mostly businessmen. They don't even know who is the service provider to help them do their liquidation of their existing crypto that they have mined. Okay, most of the time. That's why when I spoke about Huobi Pool Token was actually helping miners. They are providing solutions for miners. That means they set up the wallet for the miners. They help the miners link up the BTC, house it, and help them to liquidate. You see? So I'm a miner. I only care about my business. I only want to make profits from mining. Okay, I don't want to have all this headache. I'm only going to dedicate my mining power to you, helping you on your chain or whatever, and then at the same time I get rewarded for mining your coins. I want to liquidate the coins for cash. That's all I care about. Okay, I don't know about trading. I don't know about technical analysis. I don't have the time. Okay, because I'm running several other businesses as well. See, so you all must understand how miners are thinking. They are very simple. Okay, sure, there are some home miners that can do a lot of things. Okay, but we're not talking about the home miners here. We're talking about the businessmen here. Okay, so back to it. So right now, if you're someone in Satoshis, I think you already have set aside. You're already firm that I want to build my whole portfolio up, and my profits, my PNL will all be in Satoshis. Okay, So you have to take on the risk of whatever BTC or Ethereum is gonna be at the end of your your goal, right? Your financial goal, and then from there, your A game, right? You will only be paid off when your BTC or your Ethereum is above what you started off with. It's very simple because at some point you have to cash out for something tangible. Okay, my plan is always very simple. I buy gold, I buy property, I look at maybe stocks, or put in cash for some private equity opportunity, or invest back into my own company. It's very simple, very very straightforward. I'm not someone who makes things very complicated. So why I use USD Tether? Very simple. It's just easier to see, right? If I bought Bitcoin at 3,200, Bitcoin is 3,820. Am I in the money? Yeah, I'm in the money, right? Whether I go back to USD or whether I go back to USD Tether, it doesn't matter. The reason why I stick to USD Tether, because I just want to have the money in the account. I still want to trade. I want to see further opportunities. And you'll be surprised. There are quite a lot of altcoins that have US dollar Tether pairings as well, right? So you don't have to feel like, just because some group talks about this coin and shucks, it doesn't have a US dollar Tether pairing, let me buy BTC and then go into that particular altcoin, right? If it doesn't, that's why I'm telling you the watch list. Back to my first point, have a watch list, right? And then you ask yourself, the more pairings and the more availability of exchanges that hold this coin, right? Okay, you will have more opportunities for people to participate. There's more accessibility. But if okay. So there's more accessibility to that particular coin, and when there's more accessibility to that coin, potentially, momentum-wise and sentiment, it will push it up, especially when it already had BTC and Ethereum pairing. And then suddenly they launch a US dollar Tether pairing or stablecoin pairing, right? It usually will have a lot of momentum, whether up or down. Okay, whether up or down. So same thing, you kind of take a look at the various pairings that you have right now. Sometimes having it in an obscure exchange is not a good idea, because if it's in an obscure exchange, there's a risk of firstly delisting. At the same time, there's also a risk of availability in the amount of order books. How thick is the volume for that particular exchange? Okay, and very rarely, if you see the coin in Binance, Huobi, OKX, right, they are mostly available everywhere else, because all the smaller exchanges, right, will more or less list them for a very small fee to no fees, because they want to stay competitive. They want to give an opportunity to smaller players that are not using Binance or Huobi, which is quite unlikely to purchase it. But their spread, right? Their spread, which is basically the price between buy and sell, is going to be very very wide, because there's not enough orders being fulfilled. There are not enough orders that are coming in on their exchange to give you a favorable price. Therefore, whenever you go to Binance and Huobi, you will see a tighter spread. When you have a tighter spread, means that the bid offer price is very close. So you are not going to be paying too much on commissions. Okay, you're gonna be paying a favorable price, and at the same time, when you do decide to sell, it's also closer to the spot price. The spot price is basically the market price. Okay, so take profit, cut loss. Cut loss is obviously the next thing that I want to talk about. I think a lot of people don't know when to cut loss. Okay, every trade, right? There are people who, you must see the range. You must see the range of that particular crypto. Okay, so right now, if you look at it, let's say we look at Bitcoin. Okay, we keep it simple. Where is the, okay? So let's say we say the price range, right? We can go week to week, we can go candle to candle. I prefer week to week. So let's say we know that the price in terms of movement, okay, let's say we look at the price movement. We must have everything touch as much as possible. Okay, so the total movement, okay, for now, in the past number of days, okay, at least for the past 2 days, was 3.23%. So if you are someone who managed to buy somewhere in the middle, Unfortunately, without leverage, BTC isn't very attractive. Okay, you would have to work on a longer time frame to get a more favorable range. So this is kind of the range that I would be looking at, where there's a 10% total upside and downside. See, so would I actually go in now? I wouldn't. I'll be looking at this level, which is the 3.6 level, and then at least I have a $200 upside to work with. Okay, that's more than 10%. Okay, so that way you decide for yourself, because if I know how it works, guys. When you come in with very small capital, right? To you, like 3% on $100, that's not a lot. But you know what? It's about the discipline. So, but are you disciplined enough to wait for the trade to happen, right? That means you're setting up orders and being like a fisherman. You're not going to market buy. You're not going to rush into it. You're not going to FOMO. You're just going to wait for it. Therefore, back to point number 1. What is the watch list? Okay, so since you already know that this is the particular pairing that you have, okay, let's say Bitcoin US dollar tether, and you know that shucks, is like somewhere in the middle and the range is 3%. Forget it. It's not favorable for me. I'm not going to look at it. Then you look at the next coin on your watch list, and the next coin and the next coin, so on and so forth. So this is the thing. I mean, to me, this is how I do it, right? I know that there are traders who have multiple things on the watch list because they want to have that flexibility of looking at a lot of things, and you have the right to do that because your skill sets or the kind of indicators that you use are best served across the whole crypto universe. You don't have to stick to 5, but I'm just keeping it simple for myself. So I hope that I gave you some insights to how you can approach trading and possibly even investing. And this is kind of like the indicators that I've been using. The take profits and everything will be in US dollar tether. At the same time, when I cut loss, naturally when it comes to cutting loss, I'm always someone who doesn't mind. Okay, doesn't mind at least a drop of 3 to 5% in my particular trade. Okay, I'm okay to even, right, sometimes break even. I'm even okay to sometimes take a small loss of 3 to 5% on my trades. I'm okay with that. But you have to determine that for yourself, because I don't know whether 3 to 5% means a lot to you. Because if it does, then you have to rework your strategy and put a tighter stop loss. But however, since crypto markets are so volatile, it depends on the pairing. So back to it, depending on the pairing, if the pairing gives you a 10 to 15% movement, and you set a 1 to 2% stop loss, but the volatility is always there, and it easily gets you stopped out. That means you just get stopped out, or if there's not enough volume, you actually break through the safety net of your stop loss. So that's a possibility as well. So you have to consider all these factors, and like I said, these are things that we discuss on a weekly basis in our private webinar. It's a lot to mention. As you can see, it's already 27 minutes, so I don't want to hold up anybody's time anymore. So right now, this is it's already 27 minutes. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you have comments on your favorite technical indicators that you like to use, what are the top 3 that you like to use, and what are the top 5 cryptocurrencies that you are looking at on trading or even investing, I would really love to hear from you guys. So and last but not least, please support the channel by subscribing, and don't forget to click on the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys.